The story of Canada. Before anyone called it Canada, before the borders stretched from ocean to ocean, this land was a world shaped by ice, forests, and ancient nations. For thousands of years, indigenous peoples lived here. The First Nations, the Inuit, and the Métis. Nations with their own laws, languages, and lands, the Haudenosaunee built powerful confederacies. The Cree traveled vast northern plains. The Inuit mastered life in the Arctic. The Mi'kmaq, Anishinaabe, Blackfoot, Dene, Salish, and many more held deep relationships with the land. This was not empty wilderness. It was a world full of life, trade, diplomacy, and ancient stories. Everything changed when sails appeared on the horizon. In the late 1400s and early 1500s, explorers arrived. First the Norse, centuries earlier in Newfoundland, then John Cabot for England, and later Jacques Cartier for France. Cartier heard the word Kanata, meaning village, from the St. Lawrence Iroquoians. From that single word, an entire country would one day take its name. Soon, France established colonies along the St. Lawrence River. They called it New France. Trappers and explorers, coureurs des bois, pushed deeper into forests and lakes. They traded furs with indigenous nations, forged alliances, and built a culture that blended French and indigenous traditions. But across the Atlantic, Britain had its eye on the same land. A new struggle began. France and Britain fought for dominance in North America for over a century. These wars reshaped the continent. The most decisive moment came in 1759, on the plains of Abraham outside Quebec City. British forces defeated the French, and in 1763, France ceded nearly all of its North American territory to Britain. From this point on, Canada would grow under British influence, but with a strong French heartbeat that never faded. Canada became a place of two founding European cultures, two languages, two identities, learning to live side by side. Unlike many nations, Canada did not win independence in a single revolution. Its freedom came gradually, through negotiation and nation building. In 1867, 4 colonies, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia, united to form the Dominion of Canada. This moment is known as Confederation. Over time, other provinces joined. Manitoba, British Columbia, Prince Edward Island, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Newfoundland, and the Northern Territories. By the early 20th century, Canada had its own parliament and growing autonomy. But 2 world wars changed everything. Canadian soldiers fought bravely at Vimy Ridge, Normandy, and across Europe. Their courage proved one thing. Canada was not just a colony, it was a nation. In 1931, the Statute of Westminster granted full legal independence. In 1982, Canada patriated its constitution, finally gaining the power to amend its own laws. A country once ruled overseas was now fully sovereign. Canada's flag is one of the most recognizable in the world. Bold red bars flanking a white field with a single maple leaf. But this flag is surprisingly young. Before 1965, Canada used a British-style flag, but Prime Minister Lester B. Pearson wanted a symbol that represented all Canadians. The maple leaf had long been a symbol of unity, used by both English and French Canadians, and respected by Indigenous peoples as part of the land. Red symbolizes sacrifice and strength. White symbolizes peace. The 11-point maple leaf symbolizes cultural diversity, unity, and all provinces and territories. A nation of many peoples under one leaf. Modern Canada is a mosaic of cultures, languages, and landscapes. Home to the Arctic tundra in Nunavut, the Rocky Mountains, French-speaking Quebec, vibrant cities like Toronto and Vancouver. Indigenous languages being revived across the land. One of the largest immigrant populations in the world, Canada embraces diversity not as a challenge, but as an identity. Yet it also acknowledges a complex past, including the painful history of residential schools and ongoing reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. Canada is a nation learning, growing, healing, and becoming. A country defined not by revolution or conquest, but by negotiation, unity, and the belief in building something better.